Hey everyone, it's Jordan from Jay's Mindscape, and today we are making a tier list. I know tier lists are kind of an outdated thing, but today is very, very important. Here's why. I'm going to make a tier list of the classic Barbie movies, because let's be real, poetic cinema. And for simplicity's sake, I'm going to go ahead and say this is up until Diamond Castle. By that point, I had grown out of Barbie movies, so there you go. And plus, they started to get bad from then on out, but that's just an opinion. First things, I kind of want to start with the first Barbie movie that I found. It was made in 2001, is the Nutcracker. Now, when I was a kid, I really liked the concept of dancing, but I didn't necessarily want the work to do it, so I just watched the Nutcracker or Swan Lake because I thought it was cool. I haven't watched this very recently, but I will say that reading the plot and watching like a few scenes from it here and there, it's alright. I'd give it probably a D though, just because I don't remember a lot of it, and I kind of remember the not really caring for the love interest at all. So there you go. Yep, Nutcracker's in D. I am going to go ahead and say there is going to be a bit of a bias when it comes to the more musical ones, seeing how I'm a total musical theater dude and always will be. Swan Lake. Now, I have a special place in my heart for this one. I also want to say that as far as the talking animals trope in the Barbie movies, I think the unicorn in this one is pretty awesome. I also like how they gave meaning to everything. It seemed like they put a lot of passion in studying into this movie because every character had a style of dance and a reason why they had a style for dance. I will say that this movie is very whitewashed, though. Most of these are because these were back made into the early 2000s, and for some reason they just didn't want more colored. Like, the reason I say it's whitewashed in this case is because they have a Latina character who doesn't really look Latina. She looks pretty white. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and say that I'm sure there's a lot of people who are Latina and have lighter skin, but I'm also gonna say that when she has that thick of an accent, I'd think she'd be a bit darker. She's pretty pale for a Latina girl. So, for that, it's gonna still go in D with Nutcracker. Plot was great, it's just very whitewashed. I may change that later on, I don't know. That's just how I'm feeling right now. Like, plot-wise, I give it like a C or a B, but just because of the whitewash, I'm giving it a D. 12 Dancing Princesses. Now, this one's very weird. This one feels like a drug trip compared to the rest of them. The plot's kind of all over the place. The talking animal aspect of it didn't make sense and was very brief and useless. Though I will say, for sentimental value, it means a lot because my cat's name is Twyla, and this is where I got her name. Visually, I think this is probably one of the better ones. It's actually really pretty. The love interest in this is stupid. I'm gonna go ahead and say that. He was a nice dude, and I liked his character design because he was a little bit different than the typical love interest. I feel like they use the same character model every time for the love interest, especially in the earlier ones, but this, I believe, is a more later one. I think this was in like 2006. So for visuals alone, and the fact that it is a classic story, I'm gonna put it in C. The Pegasus. This story is the darkest one because of the villain alone. The villain I like the villain a lot. His motive is kind of ridiculous, but what's so dark about it is that he turns his wives into trolls when he gets tired of them. What the fuck? It's very strange for a Barbie movie, and I'm honestly surprised that that's a thing in a Barbie movie. And it's actually really good. Visually, it's really pretty. I also want to give them kudos. I believe this was made in about 2006, 2007. Maybe even 2005. It came with 3D glasses, and also the polar bear is really cute. So, again, for visuals and everything, and for the story, I'm gonna give it a B. I may change that later, but I don't know yet. We'll come back to it. It's either gonna be a B or C for sure. Mariposa. I don't remember this one well at all. Like, visually, it looks stunning, and just by the box art alone, because the rest of these, they just look like dolls or 3D art and stuff, and this looks like 3D art, obviously, but it still has that 2D feel, and it looks so pretty, and I remember it being so fucking pretty. But the problem with this one is that it's kind of a knockoff of their own Fairytopia franchise, which is very odd. I don't remember the plot at all. It wasn't very memorable out of them. I mean, to this day, I can still remember a lot of the plot of, like, Princess and the Pauper and stuff. So, and Swan Lake, and the Nutcracker, and the 12 Dancing Princesses, mostly. But I don't remember a lot of Mariposa, and I remember thinking at the time, when it came out, this is just a knockoff of Fairytopia, except she's prettier and is aesthetically better to look at. So for that, I'm gonna give it a D. The visuals are absolutely gorgeous, but I just don't see the point of the movie, really. The next one is gonna be Fairytopia. It's alright, in my opinion. It's pretty okay. Bibble is by far the most annoying thing there is. His doll is so creepy, I don't get it, and it's a very strange movie. Even just the logic of it. It's like, oh, she's a fairy born without wings because of no reason mentioned. It's a chosen one trope as well, and I'm not a big fan of that. And visually, it's kind of bleh. So, C or D? I think I'm gonna put it in D. Personally, I put it in D. The next one is The Mermaid Fairytopia. I have many opinions about this. It should have been gay, first and foremost, because to be honest, her and the mermaid had way more chemistry. But what's so weird about Fairytopia is that there's this guy that they talk to and ask for help, and then you see something kind of forming. But then in the second movie, they kind of throw that away and make him end up with this other chick. But I do like in Fairytopia how they're like, hey, if you don't do this in a certain time, you're gonna lose the thing you care about, which is your wings. So in my opinion, this one's better. But it pisses me off that it isn't gay, and then in the third movie, they just give her a random love interest that doesn't even make any sense. But visually, it was actually really pretty. Cool, so I'm going to give it a C, just because it's better than Fairytopia. And the last one, which is by far the worst one of the series. Like, immediately I know I'm going to put this in E. Because this is just... it's not good. There's like a school for some reason, and they go to the school to learn a dance. That is the main reason they go to school, is to learn this ritual to save the world and stop Llorona from being a thing again, which, again, doesn't make any sense. It's so all over the place, it can't decide what it wants to do. Bibble is the most annoying that he's been because he gets a girlfriend, and the girlfriend's about the same amount of annoying as him. So yeah, this goes in E. I hated this movie. Period. I don't even know why Fairytopia had so many damn sequels. Anyway, let's move on. Rapunzel. This is another classic, and I believe it's the second movie that was ever made for the Barbie franchise. It's cute, it's sweet, it's a classic tale, so you already get some brownie points in my book when it comes to that, just because I like classic tales being told in different ways. The side characters are alright. The rabbit, I think, is fairly useless and pointless. He's funny, but it's a slapstick comedy, so it doesn't really age that well. I like the dragon side story. All the side plots and stuff makes sense for the movie, and I like it. It gives the characters more depth and interesting. Also, it's really fun to me. I think I've quoted the phrase Katrina about 10 times just in the past couple months. So, yeah, it's a memeable movie. It's cute, it's short, it's sweet. The prince is decent, not that special. I also like the villain in this. I think she's a total badass, and I like me a good badass woman here and there. So I think, and also visually, it's freaking beautiful. So I'm gonna give it a B. Whew, the Barbie Diaries. Let's talk about this movie. This movie is the worst one, period. Like, immediately it's gonna go into F. Here's why. School movies are great. So when you think school movies, you think stuff like Mean Girls, maybe even Love, Simon. But you think of shows like Glee, you think of High School Musical, you think stuff like that, right? Okay, I want you to take those, and take every single cliche that's in them and put them in this movie. Put them in, this concoction. That is this movie. This movie is a walking cliche, and it's terrible. The animation is god-awful. It's the worst it's ever been. But I am gonna go ahead and give them a little bit of slack when it comes to the animation, because they switched, studios, I believe, during this time, and so everything was janky and weird. But I'm still not going to give it any slack, because it's still the worst Barbie movie there is, so it's going to go in F. Oh my god, literally, I dare anyone to watch it all the way through, and to take a shot, not with alcohol, take a sip of water every time there's a cliche of any kind. Because if you were to take a shot with alcohol, you would be dead within the first 10 minutes. Maybe 5. I've written characters with more personality than this movie when I was 13 years old. And that's really, really sad and pathetic. Princess and the Pauper. Now, this is a lot of people's favorite. And reasonably, it has an amazing soundtrack. The visuals are pretty nice, for that time anyway. And even now, most of these movies kind of stand pretty nicely. Not amazingly, but, comfy. Barbie Diaries doesn't, but Barbie Diaries is the worst. I like the protagonists a lot, both of them, because, yes, they're very similar, but they're also very different. They have similar goals. They want a different life, but they obviously want different things in life. One wants to be in a cottage in the middle of nowhere, just chilling with her boyfriend, who's, really smart, and so she can read science books with him and just chill. And then the other girl wants to be really, really famous and make a lot of money and blah, 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 blah. I'm gonna put this, because it's so loved, because it's has an amazing soundtrack with an amazing fucking villain who reminds me of Scar from Lion King. It's totally gonna go in S. I don't know where else I would put it, to be honest. Diamond Castle. Diamond Castle visually is beautiful. I love the love interest in it. It's not really a musical, but there is music in it. But the main problem with this movie, and why I've realized it's not really my favorite anymore, is the point is that you have to do music in order for this thing to exist and work properly. But there's barely any music to go by, to be honest. And, part of me realizes, well, the villain finds people because they sing, right? So they can't sing. But they do anyway, and it's just as long as the girl in the mirror doesn't sing, it's fine. So I feel like there should have been more songs in it, especially if it wants to consider itself a musical. I'm gonna put this in A. It's an amazing film. I love it. Visually, it's great. It's just, it's a little lacking in the music department for a musical anyway. Island Princess is by far my favorite one, and I thought I would never say that. Visually, it's pretty nice. I hate the stupid elephant. She's selfish. She's stupid. I don't like her at all. She is one of the most unlikable characters in Barbie history, and I'm supposed to feel bad for her, but I don't. The red panda deserves the world, and so does the peacock, and so does Barbie in this one. The music in this is the best, I think. I think it rivals Princess and the Pauper. Because the love song, the thing that people get with Princess and the Pauper is the villain and the I'm Just Like You song. Everything else is really great, don't get me wrong. I'm not dissing Princess and the Pauper, it's in the S rank for a reason. But Island Princess to me has a better soundtrack because they do more with it. They experimented more with it, with harmonies and stuff, and I like that. With Princess and the Pauper, yes, there were harmonies, but they just weren't as strong. The strongest harmony, in my opinion, in Princess and the Pauper was the 3-part harmony during the villain song, How Can I Refuse? However, in the Island Princess, the villain song is about the same, is probably the same caliber. I also am gonna go ahead and say I really like the love interest in this one. I think the best love interest in the history of the Barbie movies is King Dominic and Erica from Princess and the Pauper. So I'm gonna put this in the S rank just because I could talk about it all day, and it's by far my favorite Barbie movie, and in my opinion, the best Barbie movie. Now I'm gonna review this and move stuff around, I think. It's because I don't necessarily agree with some of the stuff I have now. But yeah, here's my tier list. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was kind of a strange video, because who the hell makes a tier list for Barbie movies? But here we go. So yeah, hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all have a wonderful day. And yeah, see you in the next video. Bye guys.